In 1992, the IRA set up a bomb, and it took out the Baltic Exchange, which was the site. What that created was a new opportunity in the heart of the City of London.
Initially, a skyscraper known as Millennium Tower was proposed, but rejected as it was far too tall. A new scheme for a ground scraper got planning permission. However, as there was no demand, this building was never built. This led to a new project.
My role on that project was rather like being the conductor of an orchestra. That was my job.
At the end of the day, somebody has to make a decision and somebody has to take the lead, and that is the project director's role.
I had the most talented team you could ever imagine. I had the best engineers you could choose to work with, the best M&E, structural engineers, M&E engineers, acousticians. I had a phenomenal client, but they wanted a building of 600,000 square feet now. And so when we started discussions with Peter Rees in the city, Peter said, "Nah, 300,000. That's all that can fit on the site." And cutting a very long story short, we ended up agreeing roughly in the middle, 450,000 net. It's got to look right on the skyline now. That's the only debate. And it's looking a little bit plump. We think you should add 3 floors to the height of the building. Hang on a minute, sorry. Add 3 floors to the height of the building. So, because this is us thinking it's going to be kept down, kept lower.
The biggest impact I probably had was on squeezing the pumpkin to make it into a gherkin.
Peter has always taken credit for encouraging the team to increase the height of the building, which we all agreed did result in a more pleasing form.
And so if you're asking who designed the building, well, I'm sorry, Paul Valloway and Peter Rees had just as big a hand in it as anybody else. Because that call to add those extra 3 floors was fundamental to the elegance of that building. That building is only just elegant. Ground scraper, in fact, was where it started. And it started to get taller. It didn't start with a great big, we're going to be the biggest, the tallest and the best. At all. It was the first tall building in London in 27 years at a time. First tall building in 27 years, that's a generation. So the current generation had never, ever dealt with a tall building, either at planning or at a political level. Nobody knew how to deal with it. Politicians grant planning permission. And so it was as much a political decision as it was a planning and an educated assessment.
However, an issue arose late on in the construction phase.
There was a moment when the cleaning rails are these 2 rails right up near the top. When those cleaning rails got installed, I got a phone call from Peter Rees saying, "I didn't approve those rails, get rid of them." Peter, you don't understand. I can't get rid of them. I don't care. I didn't approve them.
Peter had felt that the rails were entirely temporary. We knew they weren't, and they were shown on the planning drawings.
In the end, they had to accept that they should have asked for permission, and they apologised. But then, on the other hand, we had to give them permission because things were too far advanced.
That nearly ended in tears. If Peter had been able to enforce the removal of those cleaning rails, the building would still not be open today. Absolutely way too late to be taking those babies off.
I think in the end, Peter realised, whilst he would have liked to have done away with them, there was no other option to have with it.
And the planners then just had to be flexible and accept that the building wasn't going to be built exactly as it had been originally. As we can see in the cartoon on my wall, the rings around the gherkin don't stand out all that prominently.